Jericho, you've been playing the Blop 6. That's the how do you refer to it? What's the community referring to it as? You're the Call of Duty guy.
Black Ops 6, Call of Duty Black Ops 6. It's another Call of Duty. Woo! It's that time of year again where I play the beta, and then I play the game on release, and then I play the campaign, and then I don't touch it again for 12 months. I grew up obviously playing Call of Duty. It was my main game when I started making content in 2009, and I thoroughly enjoyed the franchise all the way through. Like maybe Black Ops 4 is when it started to kind of like detach from what I enjoyed playing every day. And so hopping on this, just like the other Call of Duties, it's been a rough couple years. They had Sledgehammer Games, the third studio, had to give up their production for the game 2. I believe it was Treyarch for a half game cycle for Call of Duty Cold War, which was Black Ops 5. And that game sucked, in my opinion. I mean, it just wasn't fun, right? It was standard Call of Duty movement, etc. And then they had, the next Call of Duty come out, and that game was not that fun either. And realistically, Warzone's carrying the franchise. It's what everybody plays. It's free to play. What this beta is traditional Call of Duty. You pay the $60 or $70 rather now.
Or Game Pass.
Or Game Pass, which is how I'm playing it, which is actually a great change. Because, look, I don't want to spend $70 for multiplayer. I want to play the campaign. I want to play zombies. That's it. That's where I'm at right now with it. It's too much of the same. We're going on 22 years of Call of Duty multiplayer like this.
Whew.
And
is that a release every year?
Yes.
Shut the fuck up. They put out 22 Call of Duty.
It might be 24 if you add all the games. I went through them all.
Is that real?
It's a conveyor belt. It's a money-making conveyor belt.
Assassin's Creed was doing that for a while too, but they stopped.
Yeah, holy shit. I know they put out one every year, but to think about it, there's been 20 Call of Duty releases. What the fuck?
So that's a lot, right? And so when people say like more of the same, realistically, I think Call of Duty changes more than any, Madden or FIFA, because the game is built on a different platform each time the dev switches, right? Infinity Ward has their own game engine, or they did up until now. It's on the unified engine, basically. So what is different about this game? It's cracked out TikTok Call of Duty. It's like literally the most ADHD, insane movement shit ever, and it breaks my brain sometimes. You can sprint in every direction, dive in every direction, slide in every direction. It's all about, being cracked, as the kids say. And I was really worried I would suck at this. However, this probably was the hardest game I played in the entire stream. Like I had like a 2KD, 50 kills. It was not that hard. And I had some moments where I was like, man, that was actually really fun. Where you're moving around the map and you're being slippery and you're, kind of feeling like a superhero diving around and stuff. It did the same thing that Call of Duty used to do for me, where you feel kind of like larger than everybody else in the game. Something that I did not feel had happened previously in the last few Call of Duties. Main reason, the movement system does just add a little bit of that extra, well, that was pretty cool, moment that kind of makes up for the stagnation of these standard respawn game modes, which suck. They're so boring. I think for Call of Duty and for a lot of games, Halo Infinite, or any game that's built on a 20+ year idea of multiplayer, these games don't work well. Like these 8-minute, 12-minute, 6v6 games where you don't ever really build a storyline. You never see these people again. You don't see your teammates again. You will be in a new lobby next game. The game's inconsequential. You're doing it to level up a gun so you can get gun skins. Like there's not that, like gaming as a whole, those games don't give you that feeling like winning a battle royale or, winning a one-on-one fight in a fighting game or something like that. And so I feel like that's what Call of Duty's been missing, a way for you to be like, oh, hell yeah, that was sick. Or I feel like I gained something important. So I'm looking forward to Search and Destroy. I will never touch any of the respawn game modes. And I don't think that era of Call of Duty is important anymore. It's all about Warzone. How does the game feel in Warzone? And how much money are they going to make on Warzone? But I do think that they're actively putting effort into the competitive space more so than they ever have. Treyarch is the best of the three devs. If you like Call of Duty, you probably will like this. If you don't like Call of Duty, you will absolutely hate this. And if you don't really play Call of Duty often, but you have Game Pass, totally worth a download. I mean,
The
It
amount
really
of-
is fun.
Yeah, the amount of people in my chat that haven't played COD for a decade, but have Game Pass that have been like, yeah, I checked out Call of Duty, I downloaded it, I played it for 30 minutes. Still Call of Duty, but like they played it. I think this could be like a pretty big release just because of that.
The barrier of entry being lowered to Game Pass was one that I felt, and I'm a streamer that does this for a job, so it doesn't really matter if I buy a game or get a code, but I was like, oh, I can just get it on Game Pass real quick. And that was like, oh, there's more people like me that will be doing that, because the thought of spending full price on a game I absolutely know I will not recoup on, just in terms of like personal enjoyment, is bad.
Yeah.
And so, the fact that I'm getting zombies, which will be really fun with my friends, and campaign, which I always have enjoyed, especially with Treyarch, like those are the things that matter to me most. And multiplayer is just a way for me to figure out how the game will feel when I play the other game modes. To me, like that's simply it. And what content can I get from it? And they did a really good job too. The Treyarch devs know the funny clips get the people into the game. So when you take a player hostage, which you can do now in this game, you can talk to them and they can hear you and talk back. And so I spent, any opportunity I got, take a guy hostage, start whispering to him in his ear. They're yelling like, put me down. It's just like, it creates moments that you really enjoy as a content creator. And even if you're just messing around with your friends, it's important to have those moments outside of like, I'm running and gunning. Because if you have one funny clip in a game you're getting stomped in, it kind of makes up for the fact that you got stomped.
Yeah. I saw a clip of there's no S&D in this, right? It's only the respawn modes
for the beta.
For the beta,
for the beta, it is only
so then
the sweaty ones.
It was just like a respawn game then, or whatever is in the beta. And two teammates grabbed two enemies, and they basically kept smushing them together, and they were just like, "Oh, you gonna kiss? Are you gonna kiss this guy? Are you gonna kiss this guy?" And I was just like, "All right, Call of Duty's that's it. That's funny. That's a funny thing."
Yeah, they really do get it. And it's important that they lean into this, because you can't keep something the same for 20 odd years, and you can't keep appealing to the same demographic. This is not the Call of Duty that I grew up on. Nor is it the Call of Duty that I even prefer to play. Like, there is no bare bones pro mod that I played in Call of Duty 4 and fell in love with Call of Duty. This is a completely different game, and that's okay. You can't go into this expecting it to be the game that you played when you were 18, because you're never going to get that feeling again, ever, no matter what. The game space is different. Your friends aren't there in the same way. Like, you're chasing a high that you're not going to get. So you have to look at this from a, in this moment, how do I feel about it? And for the first time in a couple years, it gave me those like exciting feelings to have a good moment in a game. I'm still comfortable saying I will not play this game after a week when the launch comes out, unless I get good content and like can have fun in Search and Destroy. And then, fuck yeah, it feels good to play, and that's what matters.
Well, I would assume you can still take people hostage in Search and Destroy, right? Like that.
Correct.
That in itself could be pretty fun content.
I mean, Search is more built for that, because you get to spectate your friends, and it's more about individual stuff. So, I mean, same thing as Counter-Strike. I just prefer the more tactical gameplay, game modes now, because I'm a boomer, I guess.
Kind of a random side question. So one of the things you just said is like, you'd still play it, because of the content. Is it the kind of thing where if you think you weren't streaming, would this just no longer be something for you?
When I use the word content in this aspect, I use it in the, like, even if I wasn't recording, I'm talking about like, did I have a moment
enjoyable
that was like
content?
Yeah, like what was the content
okay.
that me, I think that there's a lot of things that are approachable, not just, hey, I make TikTok videos, or hey, I make YouTube videos, but like, yo, my friend, it was so funny when you did this thing in the game. And that's really what drives people to talk about a game positively. You can have content creators saying it's incredible, but like, if I can't go in there and do the same thing and feel the same way, what's the point? So everyone has that accessibility. It's not a perk. It's not like a thing you have to try hard to do. You're going to be behind somebody in a situation to take them hostage every game, basically. And it's making little moments like that are important for the content of general people, like every day.
Yeah, I definitely thought you meant your stream, and I was like, man, that's some dedication, man. Damn. Damn, Jericho. Woo!
No. I mean, I definitely play
I don't have
games
fun, but it's
never...
got content, so I'm there.
Every supermarket sim game that I play for 9 hours, I'm like, I would never touch this off stream, but I'm stacking boxes and loving it right now. Like, it's
you and Dan both.
Well, funny enough, that's kind of what I was wondering. I was kind of wondering, like, is it one of those games? I have those too, where it's like a game that's fun to stream, but this would bore the hell out of me if I was doing it solo. Like, so absolutely. I was kind of wondering if it was one of those things for you.
Yeah.
No, I played only with myself phrasing on this day of beta. So I just, sweated it out solo. And I think that just like everything, if you play games with friends, it should be fun no matter what you're playing. So I just looked at it in terms of like, okay, I had enough fun as a solo boomer to enjoy myself here. So I'm just going to apply that to most people will probably have a similar experience. I will say, just like JP said, I lamented, you cannot turn your brain off and just, oh man, you can't just turn your brain off and play, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to kind of be on and leaning forward, and that's exhausting for long periods of time.
You struck a nerve, because I was thinking about how many times I've used that when we were talking about deadlock. Because even in the new WoW, the World of Warcraft expansion, I still have refused to like level up and do things because I don't want to download mods. I don't want to like learn all of that shit. I don't want to like learn how to play my character. Like I don't want to learn. I just want to be mindless in those games.
I mean, I'm tired looking at myself moving around this game, and I was the one doing it. And my movement is bad. Okay, right.
Yeah.
So like watching the pros play Call of Duty next and all these pro players, I get nauseated watching them play. They're moving in ways that are not good to experience as a viewer. And so like that's kind of a problem. It's not that it's not impressive. It's just like there is a great filter event. And if you are capable of using this game and the movement the way they want you to, I hope I never see you ever again in a video game, because you're like your brain works differently.
Those people are going to be in deadlock, Jericho. I fucking guarantee it.
I already play against them. I hate it equally. And then I'm locked with that. I'm in there for 50 minutes and I don't want to let the other people down with this. I'm like, I'm leaving. I'm out of here. I'll never see you guys again.
Yeah. One of the other things I really, I don't know what the respect is what I was going to use for the first pass in my brain. I guess I'll stick with that. The way that they like invite the content creators for like this massive beta, the like, or not even beta, but to play the game early for like their stream. Well, I don't even know what you call it, but
it's a huge event. If
it's
you didn't
massive.
watch,
it's crazy to see.
500, or I'm sorry, yeah. So I think it's 400 creators from all across the world. They fly them in from Brazil, from the Middle East, from everywhere. And I didn't go this year. It was in Washington, D.C. But like I've been to almost every of the other ones, and they really just use it as their big tentpole event instead of doing an E3 or Summer Games Fest, which they still do. Yeah. They know that they will just have 500,000 plus people watching the first gameplay you can possibly experience. And so I just watched him and other people play it on stream. It's such a great marketing thing. And for a creator, it's great to have. I mean, they take care of you. They give you the recording device. So most of us would just go home and record immediately after. So I got nothing but good things to say about the way that they do their rollouts.
Yeah, it was a 9-hour, at least the official live stream was a 9-hour event. And everyone, like how many streaming booths do they have? You said they invited
400.
It's 400 streaming booths? Jesus Christ.
I think it was 400. Streaming booths, and each one had a dual PC setup. The logistics are fantastic.
Here's a shot of the setup, which is fucking crazy.
That's one half of the room.
That's one half of the room.
The other room is more cubicle and has more of them.
That is crazy.
Ring lights and everything. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a full setup. It's fully there. It's really wild to see that type of stuff. It feels like what like BlizzCon used to be once upon a time. Funny enough, same publisher with Activision there, but
yeah.
This gets me nostalgic for old LAN parties when everyone would get together and play.
It feels
together.
like it too.
Totally.
I mean, you can hear. It's funny because like depending on who you're sitting next to, you can hear people getting way too hyped because they're in a game against their friend or their pro players. So you'll hear people screaming like at other people from the next computer over. It does feel like it's a LAN event. It's a proper one.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I watched a little bit of some of the streams and seeing someone like Tim get into a lobby with like 13 other sweats and then he just dies, and he's like, "Fuck you," and then he leaves the game. I'm queuing up with someone else.
Yeah.
It's like, it's kind of cool. It's kind of, there's a fun factor around that. So very interesting stuff to see. Where do you judge the success of COD, I guess? Like, what is a success now with Game Pass, Jericho, for you?
I don't really care what they do, but like I think that it's impossible for them to do worse than the last 2 cycles, in my opinion, just given the namesake of Black Ops, the true, additional stuff that they've paid attention to, the community in general really liking the changes. Success will just probably be breaking all sales numbers again, making billions of dollars, and then I'm sure it still won't be enough. So we'll see what they do.
Yeah. I wonder like how they're gonna. The Game Pass thing is such an interesting. It changes their entire like marketing push after release, right? Like X amount of blah 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 sold. Because now with Game Pass, is it just like X concurrent players or X amount of unique players in X days?
They'll count downloads, right? They'll count
I
downloads,
guess,
and they'll do sales numbers and stuff. I think that the people that are getting captured by Game Pass are still like a tiny piece of the pie compared to the people that play Warzone. Like their whole goal is to onload you into. I could be wrong with my numbers, but I'm pretty sure if you looked up like the average Warzone players versus even launch day of the new Call of Duty, Warzone's probably still doing great. So they're just trying to funnel them into Warzone. You still need the Call of Duty app that you get from Game Pass that has Warzone in there, and you choose to not install it. So like the end game is get you to the $40 microtransactions for every gun skin, not the one-time $60 payment.
Yeah, you're probably right. That makes a lot of sense. That's where all the money is these days in the MTX aspect of it all. So it makes a lot more sense now why they would throw that on that, and they also own the company. But why they would throw it on Game Pass is to sell them on the MTX. How does that work if you, I guess if you don't sub to Game Pass, you lose access to the MTX?
What do you mean? No, there's no special thing for being in Game Pass, right? Game Pass is just a way for you to access the game. So you're not gaining any new microtransactions or access to anything.
No.
It's just saying.
I'm saying if you buy.
I think JP's saying if you buy Game Pass, buy a bunch of microtransactions, then stop paying for Game Pass.
The only thing that you're paying for, no matter whether it's Steam, Blizzard, whatever the hell, you're just paying for the game, the Call of Duty HQ to unlock. Everything launches Call of Duty's app. No matter what store you click the icon from, it just opens Call of Duty HQ like it would open Blizzard HQ.
So you won't lose anything.
So you're saying I could buy Game Pass. I could buy Game Pass for a month, download Call of Duty off Game Pass, immediately cancel my Game Pass subscription, and 4 months later be playing Call of Duty still.
No, because your Game Pass subscription will remove access to your account once your subscription runs out.
I think that's what JP was asking. So he's saying if you sign up for Game Pass, buy a bunch of cosmetics, and then cancel Game Pass so you no longer have access to it, how are they dealing with
You no longer have access to the game, correct?
Well, to the stuff you bought.
To the game, yes, which is the stuff you bought is in the game.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Which
it's like if you're literally saying if you stop paying for World of Warcraft, you have access to all your items. It's like, well, I don't know if you start paying again.
Yes. I see what you're saying. Yeah. I understand now.
Yeah, Warzone is free, by the way. Yeah, we're talking about the game itself, not Warzone is free. You can play Warzone anywhere for free, and you anything you got from your Game Pass will be on there.
Yeah, the prestige system back.
Who cares?
You don't care at all? Are we going to see the race? Nice. Is the race coming back, Jericho? Are we getting a race? Are we getting a race?
Oh my God, the race. I haven't thought about that for years.
Yeah, I know. Every year it comes up, and it's like, you and like 6 people lock yourself and stream 24/7 for 7 straight days. And
it's all the hotness these days. It's all the hotness, Jericho. They're just copying the greats is all I'm saying, This is true. No, I think it's great that everybody's doing their own version. I just wish people would do more of it for charity and less for just like the clout sake, which is kind of the whole point, but Yeah. That's true. There will probably be some sort of 24-hour launch stream for all the COD pros or whatever. People that are like COD creators that are in that zone.
They're all stoked.
We'll do that stuff. without
Mhm.
question. So.
Mhm.